G'day, legends. Welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Tape, a podcast where we talk to people doing rad things in the mountain bike industry. For this one, we are going on a wild ride with Joshy Frotha, aka Josh Anslow. If you have been living under a rock, you probably don't know him, but if you've been on the internet at all in the last 12 months, you would have seen this kid popping up everywhere. Amazing attitude, great personality. Just the life of any party, I believe. Real wide ride and super, super fun episode. Before we jump into it, though, I'd like to thank our sponsors. First up, we've got Trek Bikes. Still absolutely loving my Fuel EX. Every time I jump on it, I can't believe how easy it is to ride up, down, around any mountain. Absolutely frothing that thing. As we come into the warmer months, we have been loving the short sleeve franked mountain bike apparel. In fact, I've got a custom jersey sitting on my bench, possibly going up for sale soon. Absolutely froth their stuff and love their custom jerseys. Shred bike care, keeping my bike clean, keeping the dust off the rig. There's nothing better than that waterless wash in summer. Spray on, wipe off, go shred. Easy as. Fizz Tan Breezer gloves, the best for this weather. Keep my hands nice and grippy, even though they might be sweating a bit, but keeping the top of my hands nice and cool with that super breathable, breezy even, top layer. I'm itching to get down to Tassie. All this stuff about hardline, enduro jam, everything is looking rad down there. And if you want to have the best experience, hit up Tailored Trails Tasmania, and they will get everything sorted for you. So you just pack up your bike, hop on a plane, arrive, go ride. Simple as that. Lead Out Sports is still providing the best tools and products on the market. Absolutely loving my Unite pedals. Dirt Surfer keeping the mud out of my eyes for winter and the dust out of the stanchions for summer. Their custom 100% recyclable, 100% recycled material mud guards. Capped out caps are keeping my head stem on while looking sexy, and no better eye protection in the world other than Oakley. So frothing those sunnies and their goggles. Anyway, that's enough from me. Let's get into this ripper of an episode with Josh. And as per usual, grab beer, grab water, grab a wine, grab whatever makes you happy, and enjoy this podcast.
Hopefully get enough over for another season.
Sick. Are you happy to kind of jump straight in and get on with the poddy?
Yeah, bro, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Joshy Frotha, aka Josh Anslow. Welcome to the poddy, man.
Awesome. Keen to be here, bro.
This opening question might be a little bit tricky, but if you were to wind back to January and you were to think about how your year's panned out, do you think you'd be like, if you were in January, do you think your year was going to be as wild as it has been?
Nah. Oh, I know it's going to be crazy, but I didn't think it was going to be as crazy as it ended up being.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not even in January. It was till like February where I thought it was going to get pretty wild, but I didn't know how wild it was really going to get. Because January, I was still just working. Like I was sort of in a spot in January where I was like, the mountain biking thing might not happen. I was like, sort of like, I might not be able to get over. And then I was like, kind of not accepting it, but like slowly like telling myself that's still going to happen, but also like wrestling with that idea. And then I went to Cannonball and met like Greg, Steve Pete, and just had a blast, dude, like the sickest time ever. And then the week after that, I had TAFE.
Yeah.
So I had the biggest Cannonball like come down, like going back to TAFE. And I was like, nah, screw this. I'm being a pro. And like I had a whole new like fire, like a whole new passion, like a fire in the belly. I was like roaring. So I quit my job on Thursday and went to Tassie and to race their state champs. And I was like, if I could do well at their state champs, I'm going overseas. Even though I was going to go anyway because like I talked to a few people about it and they like gave me some encouragement. Shout out Dean because I messaged him because I thought he'd be able to he'd just tell me to go for it, which he did.
Yep.
And yeah, I went to Tassie, got second, and I was like, "Yep, it's happening. Let's go." And then yeah, I was pretty on fire for it after Cannonball.
Yeah,
Not
I
like
heard.
on not like that I wasn't on fire for it, but I was just sort of just thinking like the Europe may not have happened. But then I just knuckled down and got stuck into it because I've been saving up since I was 15 because I left school when I was 15.
Yep.
So I had a bit of money saved up that I blew a fair bit of it on a car, but that happens.
I heard that it was a K70 Corolla.
Yeah, thing was a beast, man. Thing was so sick. And I say, well, world champion, I'm gonna buy another one.
Was it just a stocky? Did you do anything to it?
Nah, nah. It was stock all inside, but it had a welded diff and it was like slammed. It had some it was just a beast. It
Yeah.
was beast. It was low and slow.
Yeah, they were sick, hey? I had one too back in the day.
Oh, dude, they're so good. So good.
They went up wild in price though. I think I bought mine for like $500 and sold it for like 3 grand.
Yeah, I bought mine for 5 grand and sold mine for 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Dude.
was pretty gutting. I sold it to Pat Butler actually.
Okay, so that's where his comes from.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where my like love for him came from as well.
Sick.
Because he has a base one swapped with like a 4 age
Mm. Yeah, I
and
think I've
just
seen
like,
it.
yeah, his name's Nicky, bro. It's a beast. So now he has both of them. So like I sold it to him so like it wouldn't be out of my life forever. Because I was really good friends with Pat.
Yeah.
So like, when I go up and see him, I'll still see Lola.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's a weapon.
Um, I heard a rumor that at Cannonball, Greg Minnar was a bit of a Frotha fan. Do you know anything about this or?
Oh, I, I don't want to say like, oh yeah, he was a proper fan, but I think we got along really, really good. And I think he just, I don't know, I think I have to say it. Maybe. I think he probably was a bit of he maybe took a bit of a shine to me, politely.
What was that like, man? Like you meeting, like I was there and it was kind of, I was definitely starstruck seeing those crew rolling around. What was it like for you?
Yeah, honestly, the first time I met him, because he was with Steve Pete at the time at the pump
Mm.
track, and I couldn't talk. I was with Johnny because I had some support with Lusty, and they're
That's
so
right.
good, dude. So Johnny, I came over with Jacob because that's who I sort of dealt with a lot, was Jacob, and he's like, we'll introduce you," and I was like, dude, yeah, let's do it. And then I seen Johnny there and stuff. I was like, I'll go over and say hi to Johnny, and maybe he'll say hi to me. And then I went over and started chatting, and then I was like, look at Greg as I was like just behind with Jacob. I look at Greg. I turn Jacob and I'll be like, okay, I can do it. I can do it. I was like psyching myself up so hard. And then I was like, I have to do it. And I just got so revved up by everyone to go and talk to Greg. And I went up and talked to Greg and I was just fully hyperventilating. I couldn't talk. I was like, oh, I was like, hi Greg. I was like, I just couldn't do it, eh? It was crazy. And then I ended up like calming down because he was like, Greg was like, calm down, it's all right, breathe. And then and then I ended up chatting to him for like a good while and stuff, and it was insane. Craziest thing ever, dude. He's so sick, Greg. He helped me a bit overseas as well. He's an absolute legend. Honestly, can't thank Greg enough.
That's wild. What what is it about this crew that you just get so without another word, man? Like you clearly froth over it. Like you were so excited to meet these people. Why?
Yeah, it's
Why?
ever since I just think ever since a kid, I was like looked up to these. Well, not ever since I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I wanted to be a pro skater.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like mad into it, eh? Like, and I was pretty good too. Like, I was hitting handrails as like an 11-year-old. Like, I was
Yeah.
good.
Right.
And I never got to meet any pro skaters, but I was always like oh, I'm gonna be a pro skater. I want to be a pro skater. I was like, I want to be the next Ryan Sheckler. I was like, I just pretty much like adopted their lifestyles. Well, as much as a 11-year-old kid could,
Yep.
almost. And yeah, I just wanted to be them. And then when I started riding bikes, because I started pretty late, for bikes. I started when I was last year under 15s. This was my first ever race at
Yeah,
Cannonball.
right. Okay.
So I started
Right.
pretty late, and I just fell in love with it, And I was like, just that whole like mindset from skating shifted to mountain bikes. So I was like, I'm gonna be a pro, and just like did the exact same thing, like that same mindset. And then when I got to meet one, I just collapsed under the pressure of trying to talk. I just couldn't believe it. Like they're right there, and I still get like that. I just still get pretty starstruck and fanboy sometimes.
Everyone does,
Like,
man. It's
yeah,
wild.
it's crazy. Oh, dude, at a World Cup, it's so gnarly. Like for it, like bro, there is everyone there. It's insane.
Is it kind of cool because everyone's within arm's reach? Like it's not like
Yeah,
soccer or one of those big sports where everyone's put away. Mountain biking, everyone's in the open.
yeah, it's insane. It's pretty crazy, actually. Like at Lenzheide, my first World Cup, I think I just walked up and down the pits like the whole time. Like I was when I wasn't riding, I was like walking up and down the pits and just looking at everyone. They were probably thinking like, "What is this geezer doing?
They
He's just cutting laps."
were probably
But
stoked,
no,
man.
yeah, it was sick. I was just looking, dude. I just try. I was like, try get the nerve to go talk to someone, but just like, oh no, I just couldn't. I was too like, oh my goodness.
But like it all changed, yeah. Like throughout the season, it seems like more people were getting to know you as much as you were getting to know people, right?
Yeah, well, I actually got to credit that to Win Masters.
Yep.
So I met him in Germany in Winterberg at
Okay.
an IXS because I did an IXS before I did all like the World Cups, and I was buzzing so hard and I asked him for a photo, and that's how I met Win.
Yep. Sick.
And then yeah, then he introduced me to so many people.
Because like I saw you on Ed Bull Media, like you were there with obviously with Jack Moore you'd met before.
Yeah,
Beat Bernard Kerr
that's
was
who.
like frothing you. Like,
That's who actually gave me my nickname was Jack.
yeah, right. How'd
Yeah,
that come about?
when I was riding, so I'm really close with Tim Butler. Like he's helped me a bunch. So Tim and Pat and stuff, I met them at Cannonball, my first Cannonball. And yeah, and Tim's had a lot to do with Jack. And when I was up there riding with him, Tim brought Jack as like a surprise. I lost my lid.
Yep.
And yeah, that was I just lost my lid. And then on Instagram, he did a post and he was like, "Oh, right," because that's where I met Newly Docs as well, Jake Newell,
Yep. Lord.
because they were both there. And then yeah, I was absolutely losing my lid. And then on Instagram, he said to Tim, he was like, "Oh, he really is like a bit of a frother, eh?" And he's like, "Yep, yep." And then he put on Instagram, he's like, "Oh, Froth and Josh on tow, good day, Newly Docs." And yeah, I was not in tow. I was nowhere to be seen out the back. But But that's what kicked it off.
That's wild. Was it cool to be connecting up with him like in the World Cups after a
Yeah.
few years?
Yeah, it was so sick to see him over here. It was beast. It was cool. Like he's such a cool dude to just hang out with and just joke. Oh, he's sick. He's so sick.
They're they're all good people. Do you find
Yeah.
like that is reinforcing your original like you're holding these guys to that high point like already just from the
Mm,
magazines and then you meet them and you find out they're actually all G's. Like is that kind of
yeah.
reinforcing your view of them already?
Yeah. 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 Definitely, I'd say so for sure. Because like you build them up in your head so much, and then when you meet them and they like kind of pretty much like live up to it of just being absolute legends, and you're
Mm.
just like, oh my gosh, it's just like buzzing. But it can also be bad because like if you build them up so much and then you might catch them on a bad day because they are just people. And then like you're like, oh, hey, can I get a photo? You're like, oh, yeah, yeah, sure. And like that's kind of it. And if they expected more, it can put them in a better frame of mind, like as a
Mm.
like kid or something. So it's definitely a careful one, but they all are G's, and that probably never happens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so they're yeah, it's sick.
What was uh what was your first IXS Cup like? You mentioned it before. How'd that go?
Oh, it was sick. It was a beast track. It was at Winterberg in Germany, and
Okay.
and Jack was there as well, and it was sick. I did pretty good there too. I couldn't tell you what I got there, but I did. I remember doing not too bad, and it was sick. It was.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. It was my first European race, and it was eye opening because everyone was like so much quicker, and the tracks were so different.
Mm.
The
How so?
tracks were so different. Just like the style of tracks, it's wide. The average pace is way higher. There's roots, not rocks.
Mm.
It's like just super different. And the dirt's so different as well.
Yeah, right. So
And
everything.
just everything, dude. And there's like, it's crazy. It is crazy. It's a lot different to Australian tracks for sure.
What was your adaptation like to
Oh,
that
way
track?
better. I ride European tracks way better than Australian tracks.
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Even though I didn't even qualify, but I reckon they're just more fun, eh?
Yeah,
It's
right.
just so much more fun. Well, not more fun. Oh, no, it's more fun. It is so sick over there, dude. It is
Yeah.
insane.
I'm honestly surprised you came back.
Oh, I had to. I have no money. And I
Yeah,
overstayed my visa and I overstayed in Europe by a lot. So I kind of had to sooner or later.
we'll get onto that for sure. But you mentioned like the first World Cup was Lenzerheide, yeah,
Yeah,
and
Lens High, yeah.
that track is scary to me. Like it looks fast and just wild.
Yeah, yeah. It was a sick track. I'd love to go do it again when it was like not my first World Cup.
Mm, yeah.
But it
What
was a sick track. I frothed it hard.
what was it like at your first World Cup? Like,
Eye opening. Just eye opening. Just the pace of people is insane. Because everyone there is a good rider. So
mm,
it's like at an Aussie round, it'll be like the top ten's quick, the middle pack's close to breaking in, and then the back is so far back. It's like
yeah,
pretty distinct, but like at a World Cup, it is not distinct. It's
yeah,
like so everyone is quick,
yeah, right.
which is sick, dude. It's so cool.
We just as amazed watching as you were riding it.
Yeah, I didn't really watch the juniors much because I was riding in the juniors,
Oh, you
but
were in B practice.
yeah, but watching the elites was nuts, dude. Like they're crazy, but like so like looks safe.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird, hey.
Yeah,
It's
it's
how I
so
feel at
good
every
though.
race. What so you were in B practice, yeah? And
Yeah,
this year was pretty unique because all the elite riders could go and watch the B practice.
yeah,
So
that was sick too.
was it like what was it like having your heroes like chanting your name?
Oh, you just get so revved up, eh? Like you get so revved up. Like if you hear Jack and Eddie in a section, you're just like, oh, I've got to go balls to the wall. Oh well. And I think everyone feels the same. I have to say that because you just hear you'll be coming into a section and you hear them before you even see them.
Yeah, right.
And you're just like, this is it. I have to risk my life right here.
Even is that why the juniors were going so ham? Oh yeah. Like it seemed like B practice was wild.
It was so good. It was awesome. Um, yeah, yeah, I'd have to. I don't know. We're just not at that maturity level yet where we can just be toned. We just have to like we just have to like when there's a camera, I think everyone's riding just gets so much better.
Yeah.
Or just like you just grow a big set of nunganards, eh?
100%. Is that where you and Ollie started doing your little video series as well? Was you and Ollie Schoolie?
Yeah, yeah. We were gonna be doing them like from the start. We'll do this and it'll be sick. And then we did 5 episodes and like it slowly sort of just we just slowly stopped filming because later on in the season we started like not getting different mates, but like sort of like we'd hang out with each other, not as much. Like
Mm,
we'd sort of be like, but like we hung out all the time still. Like Ollie is such a beast of a dude. He's so good. Um, but like at the start of the season, we were like inseparable,
mm.
and then like towards the end of the season, we were hanging out with like a lot of different people.
Okay. Because those first videos, man, I think I messaged you guys. I was like, they were sick. It was so good to see.
Yeah, they were cool, man. They were really cool.
Were you
I
two Van Zacking it over there or?
Yeah. Oh, full vans. I didn't. I was in a van the whole time, and Ollie was with me the whole time in a van as well.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was sick. It was beast.
Were you traveling around with like Bergen and Will
And
Hines and them?
Wilson,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Bergs and Wilson, we were like camping up with them a fair bit. And there was a few other boys as well in a van, like Nico. One point, Alex Wayman and Connor and stuff were all in
Mm,
vans. Like we always had like a bit of a beast crew around in vans.
that's sick. Because I saw you guys were like sessioning parks and sessioning jumps and sessioning other tracks while you're over there, right?
Oh, we did so much fun. We spent a lot of our time in Morsing. So before the first World Cup, we had a massive crew at Schladming.
Sick. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Huge crew at Schladming, like massive. Schladming was off cap, dude. The crew was bees, just everything was so good. And then in the break, we had another beast crew in Morsing.
Sick. Yep.
So they were like, we spent so much time in Morsing, eh?
It looked yeah, like I saw like the crew, like Alex Wayman hit that huge gap before like even the first race.
Yeah, Sunburn is crazy. So we call him Sunburn. That's his nickname. Alex Wayne, Sunburn. He's insane. He's a weapon. He actually just broke his leg though at snowshoe like
Oh
bad and just
no.
finished up surgery. So like he's built different though, so he'll be back. But
Mm,
yeah, we call him Sunburn because as I said, it's actually cold. As I said before, like I used to be really into skating.
yep.
And my favorite movie is mid 90s. It's like a skate movie, like an independent filmed skate movie.
Okay. Sick.
And one of the main characters just takes the biggest slams and like was always all good.
Yep. Okay.
Like and and Sunburn had the biggest crash on the Innsbruck whip off jump.
Yeah, right.
And he just got up and he was like good. And he had some hugies and was just like all good. So it was just like he's like Sunburn. He's like Sunburn. So we all just started calling him Sunburn.
That's sick. All right. Do you think having that crew around made the trip easier or made your
Oh
adaptation better?
yeah. Oh, for sure. Like if it was just like two people, it'd be so sick, but I don't think you'd get up to like as much of like the crazy stuff that we did
Mm.
without like a whole crew.
No one would have been egging you on as much to kind of hit that stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. That as well, but like even like off the bike stuff was insane. So like in Morzine, we were like all slept in the Care4 car park. Care4 is like the Woolies. Like
Okay.
we all just slept in the Care4 car park, the grocery store. And towards like the end of the season, we were like, because it's in Euros, it's like pretty spenny. So we all had like a
Mm.
big crew, like raxing from this grocery store, like dinner. And and like it was like me, I'm throwing the names in, I have to. It was like me, Ollie, we were like planning out heists to get dinner. It was like
Jesus.
me, Ollie, Wilson, Bergen, Nico Arnold. Like there was a good crew raxing some food from that Care4. And yeah, we were like going with like different bags because at first it was easy because like we just still just like walking out with the bags and like scanning a few little items and then just racking out with mints and meat and chicken and stuff. And then they were probably like, oh, we've probably had like some fair bit of stock go missing. So they started putting security on.
Yeah.
Or like they started checking our bag. They started checking bags at like the checkout and stuff. And we'd plan like me and Ollie would plan like you bring the distraction bag, I'll bring the sneaky bag, like kind of like. And we nearly got caught once. We got so close to being caught, and like we didn't steal anything else after that.
Probably a good decision, eh?
Yeah, fair income. It was so close, man. Like I was said dead set thinking I was going to French prison.
Fucking hell. Yeah. Oh, dude, you guys are just insane. Like, sounds like you guys were doing it tough in some ways, but
Oh,
then just having the best time.
oh, it was so much fun, dude. It was so much fun.
How did you kind of cover the costs and cover the entry fees and everything else while you're over there? Because it wasn't cheap this year.
No, it wasn't cheap at all. But I'd saved up since I was 15.
That's right.
So I had a bit of coins saved up. So it was pretty expensive to like get going because we had to buy like insurances, plane tickets, and then the regos like on top of that. So we
Mm,
had to like after I paid insurance, plane tickets, like all the race licensing and stuff, I'd already put like 4 and a bit grand into it
that's
before I'd
wild.
even got over there. And I did all this. I was so determined I was going over. I did all of that before I'd even got like entry because I was on Federation entry. So I did
Yeah.
all of this before I even got Federation entry.
Just dedicated.
Yeah, I was like, it's happening, and just it happened. And then we went over, and I was so because I'd already put 4 grand, I only went over with 11,000 Aussie for the whole
Yeah.
season. So
Yeah.
that's all
Okay.
I had. All I had over there. It was the 11 grand Aussie. But then I got super lucky with getting the privateer project,
Mm,
and I was able to sell my bike, and that's the money I used to go to America and Canada.
sick.
So I only had got like I got 4,700 bucks Aussie for my downhill bike in Morsey,
Yeah.
and my plane tickets were like 2 grand to there and 2 grand back
Shit.
to home.
Okay. Yep.
So I was running skimpy man in America and Canada, but I got so helped out by
Yeah.
Blinky and Win, dude. They fully saved me, eh?
What when did you get the privateer? What race was that for?
That was Andorra.
Yeah, right. Cool. That's a big race to
Yeah,
get out.
yeah, insane. It's probably the or nearly the best one to get it, just because the venue for privateers is like arse.
Oh, that was garbage. It was
Yeah,
actually garbage. Yeah, I
yeah.
remember that.
As a privateer, Andorra sucks.
Yeah. We were like 2 or 3 Ks away. It was
Yeah.
brutal.
Oh, even yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But what did the privateer prize kind of give you? Like,
Okay,
you like
okay. So I got a free bike that I got to keep.
sick.
That's like a beast. Got a free bike. I got ACOM, food, and a mechanic.
Yeah. And your mechanic was Trevi Burke, Trevor.
It was. It was.
Yeah.
And
Sick.
he did a good job.
Man, I was lucky enough to be in the same shop as him for about 6 or 8 months. And
Yeah.
dude, watching him work he's so dialed.
Yeah,
So
he's
dialed.
good. He's good. He did make my bike pretty quiet, which is crazy because my bikes have never been quiet.
What was it like having your own mechanic though? Like, was he doing things to help you or tuning
Oh,
things or kind of?
dude, it was the biggest spin out. So when we got to Andorra, they were like, "Oh, can you drop your bike off at the pits?" Because I'd only had 3 days on it prior to
Mhm.
getting it, like getting to Andorra. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I dropped my bike off to Trevor, and he's like, "Do you want anything done on it, bro?" I'm like, it's like brand new." He's like, "Oh, what tires you running?" I'm like, "Oh, I told him what tires I'm running." He's like, "Oh, sweet, I'll put them on." And then he just went over it, did everything the night, and he's like, I was like, "Do you want any help, man? Like, I don't know what to do." He's like, "Nah, dude, you're all right. Just relax, just chill out." I'm like, are you sure, bro? Like, you're working on my bike. He's like changing tires and like going through bearings and stuff. It was insane. I was like, I feel like I need help, man. I feel like this is not right. And then
Did
it
you
was like, it was insane.
did that kind of help you get around the racetrack and get your head around what you were doing as an athlete though? Or were you
Yeah, it was pretty easy to catch on to it though.
yeah,
It
okay.
was pretty easy. Like it was, you just had to ride. It was easy
Yeah.
as. It was just like it was so good, dude. You'll be like, you get back from like a run or two, or like 3 runs, whatever, and you'd get either like fresh tires or whatever you want. Trevor would wash my bike. It was insane. Just wash my bike, and then I would go into like the main pits, hang out with everyone, eat food, go back up for some more runs, and do some runs, and then I'd just be chilling, eating, hanging out, and while Trevor would just be working my bike and stuff.
That's sick. That's
Yeah, it
so
was
good.
beast. It was insane. It was fully nuts. And then I didn't qualify and I helped Trevor do some mechanicking on some other bike. So it was good. I feel like I helped him back a little bit.
What so you've spent a lot of time looking at Menards, looking at everyone, looking at them living that pro life, and you want to become this pro. What was it like to experience it for that weekend? Like,
It
was it
was,
your dream made come true type thing?
yeah, fully. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. I was in two minds, to be honest. I
Okay.
was like, I was in two minds. I was like, I couldn't believe it, what was actually happening. It was insane. Like, I can't even describe what it's like, man. It's like, the craziest thing. Like you almost feel like royalty almost. It is stupid insane. But also I was in a sense where I was like, oh, I can't wait to get this for a whole season.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I'll be a pro too.
Is it
So I was yeah, it was sick. I was just trying to learn everything. Just be like an absolute sponge.
was it rough to go back to the privateer life after that?
Oh, not so different, really. It wasn't that different. I didn't struggle with it.
Yeah. What was the race after that? Was that
That was
for
Ludenville.
yeah.
Ludenville.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ludenville. That
That
was
track
it.
looked
That
wild.
was the sickest track ever, dude. I'm just ashamed I crashed in it because I was ripping that track. That
I
was
think it was
that was
easy,
one of
right?
the
Easy to crash.
yeah. Yeah, it's because it was so steep. It was pretty much just a plenty steep the whole way down, apart from the top.
Sick.
It was so good. And Rowie, man, he went so good there too.
Mm.
Rowie, he's one of the kids we were hanging out with heaps in Morzine.
Yep.
He's like he's my age, or he might be a year younger than me. Anyway, he was a junior as well, and he rips, dude.
Yeah.
He was probably the fastest in the chutes, eh? He was ripping.
Sick. I want to talk about your time in Morzine a little bit. What I saw a story and was when you got your GT and stuff,
Yeah.
and you turn the camera around and there's just Lyle from Santa Cruz like standing there. You got all the boys around you. What makes Morzine like so good for everyone to kind of be there?
Oh yeah, okay. I've explained this to a few of my friends back home. Morzine is part of like the whole Port de Soleil area,
Mm-hmm.
which is like it's like a big ski field with like hundreds of chairlifts. So there's like hundreds of kilometers of like chairlifts. So like you can go up one valley on a chairlift, ride down it, catch another chairlift up, get on another chairlift, go over the border of Switzerland and ride tracks all in Switzerland and just there's so much you can ride. So like you could ride plenty, which is up one side of the hill, and that's like where all the beast steeps are. That like
Mm-hmm.
you see a lot of clips and stuff on. It's like plenty, just routes. It's like the most insane thing. But then you can also ride to Leger. Then there's heaps of ones at Leger, which is sick. And then you go up the other side to Supermorzine, which is like where you'd go on like a trail bike. It's like flow tracks, open face helmets, sick as stuff. And then you can ride down the fire. You ride down the other side of the valley, catch a chairlift, ride down some more tracks, and then you catch a chairlift up to Chatel.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So you can ride all the base tracks at Chatel, which is just there off the hook. The
Yeah,
hotel's
right.
insane. So you can do big missions. And then you can go out to like Champery in Switzerland. So you can catch more cellists all the way out to Switzerland and ride Champery, which is nuts as well.
That's
And you ride the
sick.
old Danny Hart World Cup track and stuff.
Yeah.
And then usually they have a place called Morjans, but that wasn't open this season.
Oh,
So you
really?
can ride, yeah, that wasn't open. But apparently that place is off the hook too. So there's just so much riding. There's so much. That's probably why it's like the place. It's all part of and you just buy one pass and it does every single chairlift,
Yeah,
part
right.
of the Port de Soleil area. So you can do just huge missions out with the boys.
That's sick. That's why everyone's there.
Yeah, because there's so much.
Did you kind of become friends and stuff with the Santa Cruz boys and everyone kind of while you were traveling around? Like, were you
Yeah,
making
I
friends with all
became
this crew?
yeah, I was making friends with pretty much everyone. I just was like, yeah. I met them all through Greg.
Yeah.
Like I met Greg first and PE, and then they all I don't know, they must have talked about me or something. But then they were all just super nice to me and like just good as dudes. And I just got along with them all. And yeah, it was awesome.
'Cause I saw you did like a pit tour for one of them at one of the World Cups as well.
Yeah, I did a pit tour for Santa Cruz Syndicate. That was nuts.
How did you do that? Like, how did that happen?
Okay, that happened from Jack Clark, their filmer.
Yep.
So I did one for the Union before. That was just on a wimp, and it kind of blew up.
Yep.
And and since that blew up, Jack's like, "You got to come do one for the Syndicate."
No
And I
way.
was like, "Yep, I'm doing that 100%." So then I did one for the Syndicate, but then like on Instagram, the YouTube, the video was like too long, so I had to post like part one, part two, and it was like cut,
Yeah.
which was a bit of a bummer, but it was still insane. And then some people saw that, and I ended up doing one with Dakota Norton for Intense
That's
Factory
all right.
Racing.
Yep.
And then I was just hanging around pits like
That's
crazy.
sick.
And then they haven't come out yet, but I ended up running around with Ben Oakley's dad cam or Ben Squire's dad cam. I can't remember which Ben, but their dad cam just running around the pits. But they haven't come around. They haven't come out yet, but I'm sure they will. But I was
Yeah.
just asking people. I think the first one I did. Oh, I don't want to spoil. No, I'll spoil it because it's so funny. But I was just going up to people and in snowshoe and just like asking them, "Do you like your kennels on the dad cam, like their shoes where they keep their dogs?"
Yep. Yep.
And it was so funny. People be like, What are you talking about?" And it was so good. Oh, so many people, man. It was funny.
Do you think like these opportunities, they're not falling in your lap, but you seem to be getting a lot more than some of the other Aussie privateers? Do you think these are,
Yeah,
why do you think this happening?
I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yeah, right.
But I honestly couldn't tell you. But I've heard from a few other people. It's just my personality almost, I think. I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you why I'm almost getting luckier than other people.
Do you think it's the fact that you, even though you're like a shy around pros, but you're still quite outgoing and you have this genuine stoke for the sport that isn't just for
Yeah,
marketing and it isn't for anything else. It's literally just you. It's authentic
yeah,
positivity.
yeah. I think it's just authenticity, eh? Like
Mm,
what you see on camera is pretty much exactly what you get.
yeah,
Like,
100%.
and I think a lot of people seen that overseas.
Mm,
Like, they wasn't like, oh, he's buzzy on video, but then when I try and talk to him, he's like, not. I'm like, I was just genuinely like that. And that's why I was like, oh, I just got to be myself, you know? I was
mm,
like, and that's for myself. I just love it, dude. It's the sickest thing. And I was like, just get so stoked on it. And I think that must come out through the camera.
yeah, 100%. Because I know, like, I was chatting with people all year and everyone's just like, even though your results aren't crazy, they're still up there. Like, you're still very close.
No, no. Oh yeah, for sure. I wasn't qualifying, but I got close a few times.
Yeah.
I got
But like
26 at snowshoe.
26th.
Yeah,
That's wild. It's so
yeah,
sick. But like we were saying, like even though your results aren't up there, you're not top 10, you're not doing anything crazy like that. But like your
mm,
personality and the way you treat people seems to really carry you through, which is so much
yeah,
more.
yeah. Well, dude, just being at a World Cup is nuts. Like, like even though like I'm not qualifying, even though I 100% will one day. It's coming. I'm telling you.
Mm,
Even though didn't qualify, I was like, I can't believe I'm at a World Cup. Like to compete
mm,
at a World Cup, I was just stoked on it already, and
100%.
I was like, my results are slowly improving. I'm like, is so good. I'm like, oh, I'm getting closer and closer. Oh, this is freaking so sick. Like, oh, that was beast. Oh, I was just loving it, dude. Just being at a World Cup, doing what the pros did. Like, oh, man, I couldn't think of anything better.
That's so sick. That's rad. I love the attitude.
Yeah. I think that's also another reason, just that attitude of just like, I don't know, I just love it. I'm just so thankful to be there.
Mm. What was your trip from Europe to the US like?
Freaking nuts, dude.
I think you've told it 100 times, but I'd be bad for not asking. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I thought that'd be the case. I can, um, so it started with me overstaying in Europe when I tried, like, when I was leaving to go to America, had overstayed in Europe by like a good chunk.
how long were you allowed to stay there?
You're allowed to stay there without a visa for 90 days, like just on the passport.
Okay.
And I was there for 143.
Okay. Sick. Yep.
Yeah, I have a bit of an issue with trying to get around the law. So,
Yeah. It's good, man. I rate it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so someone told me you got to fly out of Geneva because, like, they're part of the EU, but they're like not. They're like super independent.
Yep.
So they're like, that's going to be the easiest border. As long as you haven't been in Switzerland for more than 90 days, you should be sweet. I'm like, sweet. I'm going to go out of Switzerland to Washington because that's the closest airport to Snowshoe. So, yeah, I was like, sweet, we'll do that. But because my flight's just so cheap, I had like a bunch of layovers, and one of them was in Iceland,
Yep.
which is part of Europe. Well, apparently it's part of Europe. I didn't know that when I went there. But yeah, so
Definitely
I
is.
got straight through Geneva, easy as. And I'm like, one of my mates, Job, he overstayed as well, and he flew straight home from Geneva. And I was
Okay.
like, dude, did you get through Geneva all good? And he's like, yeah, all good. And I was like, sweet, I just made it through. Beast, I'm good as gold. Just finesse the law once again. So I'm like kind of laxed out a bit, you know. I'm like, sweet, that was way easier than I thought. Because I had documents printed out of like Australian bilateral travel agreements. I had full fake itineraries. I had everything. And yeah, so then I got to Iceland and I'm cruising through and I'm like, passport office? Oh, walking up to a passport office. Oh, that can't be too good. But I was also like, oh, I'm prepared. I'm like perfect preparation equals perfect performance. I'm good. I have paperwork. Let's go.
Not sure that's what that saying's for, but let's go.
So I went up to the parcel office and the lady's like, you've been here since May. And I'm like, oh, went in the mode, oh yeah, kinda, not technically, like, you know. And then she's just like looking at me, doesn't say anything, rings someone up on the phone, speaks a different language so I don't understand, and then comes back, stamps my passport, and like gives it back to me like to walk through. I'm
Mhm.
like, Finesta, all good. So I walk through the thing and I go to scan like your passport thing so it opens so you go to the gates and stuff.
Yeah.
And as I'm lying in the line there, some security guards come up to me and it's like you've been selected for secondary screening.
Oh God. Yep.
So I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, you need to go to that room over there. And by that point, I'm like, oh, I'm done in. I'm done in. But I'm also like confident because I have paperwork.
Yep.
So I'm like kind of stressed, like I'm super nervous, like I have butterflies and stuff, and I'm walking to this like secondary screening like booth thing, and you get a ticket and you got to sit and wait till they call you up into like the interrogation rooms.
Hmm.
So I'm sitting in there with one other Chinese dude who doesn't speak a word of English because I was like, oh, hey mate, and he's like, doesn't speak a word of English, and my ticket got called pretty quickly because like the thing, and this dude with the ponytail comes and gets me. Looked mafious, big dude with ponytails. Oh damn, this dude looks gnarly. So he takes me into the room and he's like, phone, wallet, passport, and I'm like, okay, hand him over to this dude. He walks out, don't see him. He's like gone. He comes back pretty quick and he's like, take off your jacket, take off your shoes, take off your pants. I was like, oh, he's like, you can leave your shirt on though. I'm like, oh, okay. So he takes them all, walks out. He's like not saying anything either. He's just so blunt.
That's so crazy.
And he's like, so he just takes them out and goes, we need to swab these. I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting in my undies and t-shirt in this room for like 20 minutes till he comes back. I don't have my phone, my wallet, my passport, nothing. He comes back, he goes, open your bag. I'm like, okay. I'm opening it up. Open my bag and he's just going through it, and he's like, leaves it all out on the bench, walks back out, and he's gone for like another little while.
Yeah.
And then he brings me back my clothes. And he's like, you're good. You're all good. And I get changed again and put all my stuff back in my bag. And he's like, you're good to go. I'm like, I need my passport. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes out, gets my passport, and he's like, oh, here you go, you're good to go. Gives me my phone, wallet, passport back. And on the back of my passport, it has a huge sticker that says SCC red and with the date, just like a massive red sticker with SCC with the date. I'm like, oh, that can't be good. So I rush out, sprint to my gate because I was running pretty tight for the gate after this whole incident.
Yeah.
And so I get there, get to the gate, and there's a bit of a line behind me, scan my boarding pass, and it's like says unable to board.
Oh shit. Yep.
So I'm like, oh, you're kidding. It must be the paper one. So I got it up on my phone, scanned it again, and it said unable to board to go to Washington. I'm like, oh, that's why I was like, oh, I'm done. I'm either going to Iceland prison. I'm not getting home. I'm staying in this airport. Like I thought I was screwed. And then but it was weird. I got so nervous before, but when I'd like talk to him, it was like almost go time.
Mm.
Like my butterflies just disappeared and I just became like smooth, dude. Like I could chat some game. So then the lady comes to me and goes, oh, you need to talk to this gentleman over here. And it was like, I went up to him and I gave him his passport and he was doing the looking thing again. And he's like, oh, where are you going? Where are you going? I'm like, I'm going where this flight's going, straight to Washington. He goes, why are you going to Washington? I'm like, oh, I'm just going to do a bit of sightseeing, ride some bikes because I really enjoy riding bikes. Yeah, then I'll just head home. And then he's like, oh, I need to see your flight confirmation for going home. I'm like, yep, sweet, give it to him. He goes, do you have your visa? I'm like, yep, have the American ESTA visa thing. He's like, all right, sweet, where are you staying? I was like, smooth operator, bring you some chat. I said, oh, one of my mates has booked some Airbnbs. Like, I don't have any plans. Like, he's booked some. He'll be getting in tonight. So tonight I'll just stay at a hostel. And he's like, oh, yep, that all checks out. And manually boards me onto the plane. So I'm like, oh, man, that was supposed to be the easy border. Iceland was meant to be sweet.
Oh,
And then
God.
I'm on the plane and I'm like, oh, dude, I've heard horror stories about this border, eh? Like, this
Mm.
border is gnarly, the American border. So I'm like kind of stressing the whole plane ride. And I tried to conquer jet lag because I was going to be landing at nighttime.
Yep.
So I was like going to stay awake the whole plane ride to be like tired for when I get into America.
Yeah.
So I was like tired, but I was like, oh. So I whipped up on my phone. I like whipped up like some addresses of some Airbnbs, like made another fake itinerary where I was staying. And then yeah, I got to the American border and I got to the passport office and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" Like, "Oh, I'm just gonna ride bikes, bit touristing." He's like, "Sweet, you got your visa?" I'm like, "Yep." "You got your flight home?" I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "Sweet." Scanned my fingerprints, took a photo of my face, and let me through. I was like, "You're kidding? That was it? You're kidding? That was the easiest border?"
Was there any
And then
part in Iceland where you were worried they're going to get the rubber gloves out?
yeah, when he told me to take my pants off, I was like, I haven't had too many people tell me to get my pants off in my life, and one of them happened to be a security guard in Iceland, so that was pretty gnarly. But then yeah, I had no plans when I got to the airport, and I had no data on my phone either, so I was like busted up hard. So I didn't know how to catch planes. I had a bike with me. I didn't catch planes. I didn't know how to catch trains and like
Mm.
public transport in America.
Yep.
So I just slept in the airport.
Yeah,
Just
been
slept in the
there.
airport. Hadn't eaten in like a day and a half. So like the morning, I called like my dad. I was like, "Dad, I'm down pretty bad, eh?" Like I'd planned to book a rental car, like split it with Nico Arnold.
Hmm.
Um, so I was like, I can't afford a feed like right now in an airport. He's like, "All right, mate, we'll send you $30." So I got my dad sent me $30 and I got a feed. Then I saw Sunburn was in Washington as well.
Sick.
So I
Yep.
rang him and I was like, "Dude, can you please come and get me? Like, it's been so gnarly getting here." And he's like, "Yeah, for sure, dude." So he comes, picks me up, and I was so stoked he came and picked me up. And he picked me up. It was sweet. Did the touristing thing with him. He took my bike snowshoes, stay with them. Blase, man. But had, here's what I should have just gone with them in the first place because I had a spare seat and room for my bike.
Probably. Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, no, it's all good." I've planned with Nico and Blinky that they're going to take me and I'm staying with them. Like, we've got a rental car booking. In hindsight, should have bloody gone with them
Mm.
because the story gets gnarly. And,
It's
oh, can you still
already
see
gnarly.
me?
Yeah,
It's
man.
starting
It's
to
all
get
good.
dark out here. It's
It's
all
all
good.
good.
I might have to go inside soon. But yeah. Anyway, so we hung out for the day and it's easy as. And they drove, I was like, "Can you guys drop me off at the train station? I'll train into the city." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, sweet." Because I was going to go see Jack Clark, go out to
Hmm.
lunch with Jack Clark, go see Jack because he was in the city. And I was like, "Sweet." So I go to the train. They drop me off at this train station just outside Washington. And
Yeah.
I go to the booth and I was like, "I'm from Australia. I've never caught public transport here. I would need to catch a train to the city. So I book a train." He's like, "Sorry, the trains have all left for the day." Because it was
Jeez.
like
Yeah.
it was just outside the metro.
Yep.
So it's like the trains have left for the day. Sorry, bro. I was like, "Well, how do I get into the city then?" I'm like, "Surely they're not just done for the day." It's like, "Oh, you can catch a bus at 12:30." And it's like in the morning, so it's like a 3 hour wait. I was like, "Sweet, I'll do that." Anyway, I booked the bus and just sit around till 12:30. Bus never comes. So when the bus never comes, I end up meeting this dude who like was super nice, like almost overly nice.
Mm.
Anyway, I'm just chatting. He's like black, big long dreads, like just a dude.
Yeah.
Like anyway, I was just chatting with him for ages, like, and he was like almost overly nice, like getting up real close to me. Anyway, the bus
Yeah.
doesn't come again at 3 o'clock where it'd been postponed to.
Yep.
So we're like, "Oh, what the heck? Like, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, what are we gonna do?" And then I'm like, it's like, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go ask the dude again." And I leave my bag because it was like a 5 meter walk to the booth
Yeah,
and my
man.
bag was just sitting on a bench. Rookie error. Rookie error. So I leave my bag
100%.
on the bench. Like I can still see it, but like I have my back turned to it. And it has my passport, my wallet, everything in it.
Mm.
And this dude's still sitting next to my bag on the bench. And I'm talking to the dude. I'm like, "What do I do? Can I just catch a train now?" And he's like, "Oh," as he's like goes, and he's like, "Oh, oh, oh," and like points at my bag. And this dude's going through my bag. And I'm like, "Oi!" And he hits legs and I hit legs. And he trips over and I catch him And he just starts apologizing to me. He's like, I'm sorry, man. Starts giving me this story of like, oh, I'm down bad. Like, my, I could probably turn this on. That's a beast idea. And he's like, I don't know if that did anything, but he's like, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm down bad. My car, my girlfriend's like, oh, this and that. Like, just give me a story. And then he gives me back my wallet.
Yep.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, man, like, that sucks, dude. Like, but don't steal my wallet, eh? And he was like telling me how he's been shot 3 times in Washington. He's like showing me scars, gives me back my wallet, and then we part ways. That was it. Last ever seen of him. Didn't even get on the bus.
Wild.
And then
Then
and then I ended up meeting this other crazy dude who helped me like catch trains and stuff. So this other
somehow
dude,
you like ended up in some sketchy underground accommodation or something.
oh yeah, I'll get to that for sure. But that I was a basement of a prostitute's house in the most crime rated place in Washington. But yeah, it was gnarly. So I ended up meeting this other dude that's like, oh, ended up meeting this other dude at the train station as well because I was seeing, he's like, oh, I'll show you around. And I'm like kind of hesitant to trust this dude, but I'm like, nah, he'll be right. Anyway, he ended up being all good. And I just was like chatting with him. And he's like, oh yeah, you can catch the train bus with me to this and get the blue line into La Fonte Plaza. I've missed lunch, by the way. Like I'm just
Yeah.
going to see him for like 5 minutes at this point. Anyway, I was like, oh yeah, sweet. It's like, so we catch the bus to the start of the metro, like get on the blue line and then get off at La Fonte Plaza and it'll be sweet. And I'm like, oh, sweet, sweet. He's like, oh, you need to buy a metro card though. I'm like, oh, yep, all good. So he shows me how to buy a metro card. He goes, oh, but you don't need to put any money on it. I'm like, what? That's like weird. And he's like, I'm like, oh, all good then. So we walk up to the thing. It's like an Opal card thing. It's like
Yeah.
exactly the same. So I scan it and he goes, "Brr." I'm like, yeah, because there's no money on it. So he just jumps over it and he's like, come on. So I just like, oh, okay, jump over the thing, run, and this guy goes, oh, hey. I just sprint and we just jump on the train.
Yeah.
And I'm
As you
like,
do.
beast, just jumped on the train in America. That is gangster. That is proper gangster. So then And then we're just chatting, and he's like, "This is my stop. Yeah, get off on at La Fonte Plaza, and you'll be sweet. You'll be right in the city." I'm like, "Sweet, that was it." And yeah, that was it. That was the whole interaction I had with him. Caught into the middle of the thing, cat in the city. See Jack Clark. Charged my phone up in the lobby. Um,
Yep.
obvious thing, and then he's like, "Oh, there's literally no room for you at our hotel because Ollie and stuff, Anton, like the union came." He's
Mm.
like, there's literally no room for you, man. And by this time it's like dark. So I'm like, oh, all good, man. No stress. It's sweet, bro. So I just venture out into the streets, jump on and just book a hostel. Stayed at like a hostel, and it was like honestly all good. The hostel was sweet.
Yeah.
So I'm at the hostel, all good, good as sleep. Had a shower, had my own room. It was nice. It was couldn't complain at all, dude, with that hostel. So then, but it was a bit expensive. I couldn't afford it for another night. It was like a
Yeah.
hundred some. It was like $100. Couldn't afford it for another night. So I'm like, oh, I'm a bit stuck, eh? And by this time, the gnarly cyclones just hit Washington.
Mm. Yeah.
So I was like right in the middle on the street of when them cyclones were all hitting and the rain and stuff. So I just ended up going to McDonald's because there's Wi-Fi. You can charge your phone. There's a toilet. It's literally a little
Mm.
safe haven. So I ended up going to McDonald's and just cruising around Macca's, and I fall asleep in McDonald's.
Yep.
So I'm just sleeping in Macca's, and this lady comes up to me. She's like, "Dude, you can't sleep here, eh?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I have nowhere else to go. It's like the weather was so bad. Like I have nowhere else to go. Like
Yep.
he's like he's like, oh, all right, all right. My friend rents out a private room in her basement. It might be free tonight." And I'm like, oh, sweet. So she puts me in contact with this lady, puts me in contact with the lady, and the lady's like, she's like, oh yeah, it's free tonight. All good. It'll be $40. So I'm like, sweet. So it was like $60 Aussie or something, or $40.
Yeah.
Aussie, I can't remember. Anyway, it was super cheap. So I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna go there. So I jump on a bus because I have no money and I'm just jumping on trains, jumping on buses. I just jump on the bus and she's like, I start talking to this guy and he's like, oh, where you staying? I'm like, oh, because I had my bag with me. I was like, obviously a tourist. He's like, where
Yeah.
you staying? I'm like, oh, I'm staying in Brentwood. He's like, dude, what are you going to Brentwood for? Like, nah, you shouldn't go to Brentwood. That's not safe for tourists, eh? I'm like, oh, okay. And then anyway, we started chatting about a few other things. He goes, oh, this is my stop. And there was probably like 15 other people on the bus, and they all get off. And it's a stop before my stop. Everyone gets off the bus. And I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I don't know if I should be going here, man. Like, I'm the only one going to this place. And then anyway, I get off the bus and it's like a 2K walk. And I like get off the bus, it's like a 2K walk, start walking down, and this street is like fully run down, everything's overgrown, windows are all barred up, there's burnt out cars on the street, and there's just no one, absolutely no one. And then I walk down and I get to like an intersection. I look to my right and there's just like a few dudes on the corner and they're all like in ski masks and like bellied up and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, and they're on the corner like across the street from me. I'm like, you're kidding. I'm like, just keep walking, power through, power through. So I just powered through all the way to the house. I don't think they saw me, but anything. I just got to the house, knocked on the door of this house. I'm like, you're kidding me, because it was a rundown house.
Mm.
I'm like, you're kidding, dude. Anyway, get there and I'm knocking on the door and no reply.
Yep.
I'm just like, there's no reply. I'm like, I've been robbed. I have been robbed. Anyway, I get a text on my phone. She goes, the keys are in the basement. Go around the back.
Yeah.
I'm
So you got
like,
a camera or
oh,
something at the front?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. No, I didn't. Oh, it was gnarly. So I walk around the back, right? And I like go through the fence, downstairs, into the basement door, and fair enough, there was a key in there. So I was like, sweet, I'm on the right house. And there was a sign on the door that said, if your room smells like marijuana, we can air it out, but no refunds. Expect clients from 9 till 12.
Yep.
And I was like, I didn't quite click at first. I was like, what do you mean? Like what? And I like I was like
Massage
I was like
clients, or
I
could be
was
an
like,
accountant.
there's yeah, I was like, there's no way. Because it was kind of playing in my head. There was no way. Anyway, I'm not sure if you've seen the video of it because I put a quick little Instagram story up. But the house, dude, had like it was a T-bar ceiling down in this basement. It stunk so bad. And the T-bar ceiling was all broken and gone. So I was looking straight up on the battens and trusses. And then
Right.
I'd like there was no toilet, no shower. I was like in a moldy sink. So I was pissing in a moldy sink. Stunk so bad. It was gnarly. And fair enough, from 9 o'clock, you hear someone walk up the stairs right above because bits of dust had fall down onto me because there's no ceiling, nothing. And fair enough, no insulation, no noise cancelling, bruv. You just hear it for going some people going to town. And then
Right.
fair enough, 15 minutes later, someone walks down the stairs, and then I'm like, sweet, it's over. Hour later, hour and a half later, someone else walks up the stairs, exact same thing. And I'm like, oh man. And I just couldn't sleep. I was like, the bed was kind of manky. I didn't even get into it. I slept on top of it. And like you're just hearing sirens all night, gunshots, people going to town upstairs. Like, oh, it was brutal. And I was like, I need to leave this place, man. So
Yeah.
like I was like looking at when crime was the most inactive, so I get rolled when I leave. So I was like 6 a.m. I'm leaving. So I like got up and just left at 6 a.m. That I just hit legs, straight back to the bus, straight back to a McDonald's.
How how did you feel knowing that you've gone from having that privateer experience with GT and then you've gone to that, man? Like the highs and lows are wild in that
Yeah,
scenario.
it was definitely a bit of a roller coaster for sure, dude. But then the next night, that was supposed to be my last night until Blinky and Nico came and got me.
Yeah.
But there was a bit of bust up because Nico was like, "Oh, when we get the car, we'll come and get you, like in the city."
Mm-hmm.
So I was just hanging around in the city, just like being a bum, just sitting down next to homeless people, like just cruising, just like cruising the streets, like doing nothing, like a homeless person. Just
Mm-hmm.
like, just I was a bum. Haven't showered in like 3 days. Like in the same clothes. Like I was a bum, and I was just sitting undercover with like four other homeless people in an ATM machine. And I just had my hat sitting, and I ended up getting a free Macca's meal because someone put money in my hat, and I wasn't even out.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. And then I was like, oh sweet. I was not saying no to money because I was pretty down bad for coin. But it got to like 9 o'clock and I'm like spam texting Nick. I'm like, where are you, dude? And he's like, oh, my flight just got in because his flight got delayed or something. He's like, my flight
Mm,
just got in. Um, I'm just waiting on Blinky because we were gonna split a rental car, but in Blinky's name because we were like
mm.
we would have been hit with a young driver's fee.
Yeah.
So like Blinky's flight also got delayed. So it got to like 10 o'clock and Nico's like, oh, Blinky's not here, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Blinky arrives, but Nico doesn't text me that Blinky got here or something. And they get a rental car together and just drive to the hotel while I'm still in the city. And I'm like, Nico messaged me. He goes, oh, just at the hotel. I'm like, what? I thought you were coming to get me. And he's like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, oh, so you're coming to get me? He goes, oh, can you get out to the airport, which is like an hour away? I'm like, it's like 11 o'clock now, and I was like accepting I was sleeping on the street. So I'd like got a hot coffee and four nuggets from McDonald's, and I was just parked up on the street, just like about to go to sleep undercover
Mm.
in Washington, and I was like pretty down bad and like a bit like kind of not stoked. That's one of the times I can say I was not too happy
Understandably.
because I was expecting to be picked up, but I didn't get picked up. Anyway, I'm like, yep, I can get to the airport. So I just get up, run to the train station, jump on the train, sit for an hour on the train, and get to the airport. And I'm like ringing him, and he's like, "Oh, can you just walk to the hotel?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" Anyway, because it's all highway around, it doesn't let you like walk on highways.
Nah,
The maps doesn't let you walk on highways. So
fair.
it's like a 4 hour walk to get around to the hotel.
Fuck.
Like a 4 hour walk. I'm like, dude, I can't walk there. It's 4 hours. He's like, no, it's like just across. I'm like, I can't walk across the highway because they're like the big barricade highway ones
Mm.
with like the cement things. And I'm like, he's like, just catch an Uber. And the Ubers, I was like, looked, and the Uber's like $40, $50. I'm like, I can't afford an Uber. He's like, oh, surely, surely. Anyway, he didn't message me for ages. So it's like midnight. I'm rooted. So I'm like, I'm just gotta go to bed. So I just parked up under an underpass
Fuck,
and
dude.
was like, I'm like, this is where I'm sleeping tonight. So I just like put like all my clothes on, like my warm clothes because it's like kind of wet, bad weather. And I'm just sleeping. I just like went like tried to go to sleep for like 20 minutes. I was like dozing off, like sleeping on my bag under this underpass, like near the airport.
Mm.
And Nico rings me, he's like, all right, I'll come and get you. So I'm like, oh dude, so thankful. He hauled himself out of bed, came and got me, and I just slept on the floor of the hotel room. And I was like saved from then on. And it was like complimentary hotel food, breakfasts and stuff. So I just stole so much food for the car trip. And yeah, then me, Blinky, and Nico drove the snowshoe.
That's wild, man. Like how I don't know how people or how you raced after that. Because
Yeah, it got
that's
my best result.
maybe that's part of the program, man. Maybe that's what you got to keep doing.
Yeah, oh, preferably not, eh? It was pretty gnarly.
um, it's getting late there, so we'll start wrapping things up a bit. But what are your plans for 24? Like, what are
Oh,
you?
dude, I'm going back over for
Yeah,
sure. I'm working now. I got a job in Nowra. Just got a new job in Nowra as a fridgie again.
sick.
Um, as well. Um, but yeah, nah, it's just mahi, dude. Just absolute mahi. Working. I I got a bit of a program now, a trainer as well. Josh
Sick.
Lee. I don't know if you know Bluey, Josh Lee.
I've heard the name. Yeah.
He's yeah, he is the toughest dude I ever have met in my life. Like he is I have so much respect for him. Like I honestly, he I can't even describe how much he is the sickest, toughest, just like most kind, caring dude, man. He
Yeah.
is awesome. And he said he can train me. And
Sick.
he's like qualified as a trainer. So he's wrote me up a program and just super in depth with me about it. And like, so it's just Mahi, man. Work Mahi, and he's just the best dude. Like, honestly,
Are
like,
you
so I'm really keen for next season
are
for World Cup.
you
I'm still going to be doing the Aussie season, just
yeah.
the Nationals and Cannonball, and maybe a Vic one here and there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm trying to save a lot of money, so I won't be doing too much like clubbies and state rounds and stuff. Just mainly the nationals and all that sort of stuff. But
Have you had any brands or anything, anyone reach out to you to kind of support you?
not not like not like any factory rides or anything. No, I haven't got anything like that. But I might have a few things happening.
Sick.
I'll put it at that. I'll put it at that.
Yeah.
I have had a few people contact me with some pretty good things,
Sick. That's rad, man.
which is awesome. But yeah, it's not even late here, dude. It's like 8 o'clock. We could talk for hours, man. I definitely have some stories to share.
What is yeah, that's wild, man. Like what is it like seeing these brands come to you now and ask you or like approach you? Do you feel like you're starting to
Oh,
make way?
yeah, a bit for sure. It's definitely a stepping stone, but I've also like, because I get so stoked on it, like I literally get so buzzed. I like need to like not respond for a while to think
Mm,
because I don't want to dive. Because it's definitely you got to be smart about it. You don't want to like dive headfirst into like a deal that may not benefit you like in the future.
true.
Like so, you got to definitely like be a bit smart with it, which I've
Mm,
like definitely been taught overseas a fair bit.
mm-hmm.
And also, I have really good people around me that is super business smart, like Win, Tim
Mm,
Butler. He's like pretty much my mentor, eh? Just with all
sick.
that stuff and writing. I got to credit him a lot, Tim. He is a beast. And yeah, Win as well, man. He, honestly, if it wasn't for Win, I don't think the Frotha would have got out as big as it did.
Mm-hmm. That's sick. He's such a good, I'd say he's the biggest influence on mountain biking and racing in the last few
Oh,
years.
100%. He is saving the sport at the ground level, one
Mm,
rider at a time.
100%.
Yeah, literally. Literally. He is a beast.
After going over to Europe and seeing how everything's run and riding those events and doing everything like that, what are your thoughts on the Australian series and what's kind of coming up for 24?
Um, Pretty good, I think. I'm not too
Mm,
sure. I reckon the Aussie races are run not too bad. They definitely have a lot of blemishes, but I honestly think the World Cups nearly like have more.
yeah, okay.
Like with ESO, like they don't communicate at all to the riders.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Like Ludenville is one of the biggest examples for the juniors. They just canned the finals because it rained the night before.
yeah, that's right.
And they were like, it's too dangerous for you to ride. But everyone was like, we want to ride. Like, it's not that bad. And they ran practice as well.
Mm,
So they just didn't communicate to anybody. They were like, didn't listen to anyone, like nothing. They were just like, canned it and no one wanted it canned.
yeah.
It was rideable for sure. Like they've just done some stuff like that that people not stoked on, eh?
What was the communication like to privateers though? Was it just as
Oh,
bad or?
yeah, it was just as bad for sure. It wasn't that bad. The communication wasn't so bad because it all runs off a WhatsApp group.
Okay. Yeah.
So it goes to like everyone.
Mm,
So the communication wasn't that bad, but like it still wasn't like great. And at Andorra as well, with the weather delays and stuff,
Yeah.
that was a pretty poor as well by ESO or UCI or the
Mm.
organisers and stuff.
Yeah, that looks wild. But yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, I haven't had an issue at the moment with how Oz Cycling runs stuff.
Mm.
Like there's definitely some issues with like funding, which I think plays a big part. And I don't
Mm.
think Oz Cycling gives that much of a rat's about it because it's not an Olympic sport.
Mm-hmm.
But in the way like how the events run and like on the day, I think is not that bad, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the time it's pretty good.
Yeah. Like Cannonball was like good. Even though
Mm.
they like got the start gate like closer, like they didn't
Mm.
race the fire and stuff, but it was communicated by the riders.
Yeah.
Like like Tim Butler was the TD, and he went out to like heaps of people and was like, "Do you reckon it's like riders?" He's like, "Do you reckon we should run it from the top?" And a bunch of people were like, "It's pretty gnarly when you're hauling at the top because it was so
Yeah.
windy and get airborne." So they just started it at the bottom so we could all still race, and there wasn't that big of an uproar because it was communicated,
Yeah.
which I just
Makes
think
sense. Yeah.
a lot of organisers need to take a leaf out of that book.
Yeah. Everyone knew what was going on. And man,
Yeah,
those wins on that day were brutal.
yeah, and if they'd shut the chairlift, they'd put it in the spot where they can run shuttles up to the corner without crossing the track as well.
Mm.
That's why I got started there. So it
Yeah.
was sorted, like the race was going to be going ahead even if the chairlift had to be stopped.
Yeah.
Like it was all organised and sorted.
I was low key pretty happy with that because I didn't have to do anything for a couple of hours. I was
Yeah,
so cooked by that point, man. Like
yeah, yeah,
Cannonball
exactly.
was a
Like
big week.
Cannonball was the best week, dude. It was so
You
sick.
there?
Yeah, yeah, still here. I said Cannonball was just the best week. It was so
Batteries dead.
sick. Yeah, it was good.
Yo,
Do you hear me, G?
think your
Can you still hear me,
AirPods
bro?
disconnected?
Must. No, I can still hear you. I can try. What about now? Hello?
Yo, there we go.
Hello? Yeah, I could hear you the whole time, eh? I don't
Yeah, all
know.
right.
It is wigged out.
That's all good.
This is wigged out hard.
Let's start maybe wrapping things up a little bit here.
How long have we talked for?
About an hour and 20.
Oh, beast. Good ass combo.
um, there's kind of three questions I like to ask everyone at the end of every potty, but I think this one's going to be a pretty rad answer from yourself. But for anyone who's out there looking to be more like Frotha and do kind of what Frotha's done this year, what advice would you give to the crew that are coming up and want to get over to World Cups?
Oh, I think don't try and be like me. Just be yourself. Just be authentic, man. Like
Yep.
if you try and be like me, or if you try and be like Jack, or if you try and be like Eddie, you're not gonna be able to do it because you're not them.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can only be the best you. So like you may be the second best Jack, but you're still not gonna be Jack because Jack's Jack and he's the best Jack.
Yeah.
So I would say just be yourself. Get out there and talk to people. Don't be shy. Like
Mm.
not so much being shy, but like be shy, but still talk to people. Like just get out there and conversate, man. Just talk. I don't know, hey. Just be
Yeah.
a G. Don't be an asshole.
It
Just
usually
talk
stems
to
from it, eh?
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
100%.
talk to people, be nice, respect people, and just be kind. And
Do you
yeah, don't be a
think
dickhead.
do you think talking to people in person is much more valuable than say on social media or anything like that?
Oh, without a doubt, dude. It means so much more if you come up and talk to me then send me a text message. I mean, some people, obviously can't do that because they might live far, far away and they've not seen parent. It
Mm.
is really sick. But if you're in person, you see him like if you're there, it's so sick as
Mm.
like a pro or someone who's well known in biking if you go up to them and just really just like talk to them, man, because they're all going to be happy to chat.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
they're all going to be stoked to talk because like they're like, how would you feel like if someone came up to you and was just buzzing? Like you're just going to be
Mm.
stoked anyway.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, that's the biggest thing. I learned that from Jackson Connolly because I got so buzzed hard around him as well when we had because I spent a lot of time with Jackson.
Sick.
He
I have
told
a
me
lot
that.
of time in the world in Jackson. The Jackson
Yeah,
is
I
wild.
before I went overseas, me and him lived together for a
Oh
month
God, that would
before
have
we went
been
over.
hectic.
Oh, it was an absolutely David Goggins Mahi month, dude.
I could imagine the energy just being hectic.
Oh, it's the best thing. He's probably one of my best mates, eh?
Sick. Is there anything you regret doing in the last couple of years, or is there anything you would have done differently up to now to,
Dude, the last couple of years, eh?
or like since you got into mountain biking or anything?
There's definitely a few things in my skateboarding years
Yeah,
that I
okay.
would definitely go back and not do. I
How
don't know if
so?
I want to get, I don't know if I want to get like super raw and vulnerable, but there's definitely,
Okay.
but like, but yeah, there's definitely been a few things as a kid, like a younger kid, that because I was like, as a skater, I was like 13, hanging out with people out of school in their 20s, like 18,
Yeah.
like, just what the skate scene's like. And I did some, got in a bit of trouble as a young kid, like with the law.
Yeah.
And, I've had to be picked up from the police station by my parents, like,
Yep.
like, just some stuff. But, yeah, definitely a few things back then. But in mountain biking, I honestly wouldn't regret
Mm.
anything.
Sick.
But
Yeah.
even like, yeah, honestly, I still wouldn't regret anything, to be honest, because I feel like if I didn't have all these experiences, like I probably wouldn't buzz so hard
Mm.
as what I do, and I wouldn't be so stoked because I look at everything almost in like a hindsight, but in the present.
Yeah.
So like I would be like, right now, we're doing a podcast, and it's insane because I can't believe I'm doing a podcast and you reached out to me to get on your podcast. That's nuts. But like, how sick is that? Like, even looking back, being able to look back and watch this is
Hmm.
like insane. Like, I'll be able to do that. Or like,
Yeah.
I also look at things as like, oh, my documentary on world champs was sick, and my autobiography would be insane.
100%.
So like, I kind of look at stuff like that. Like when I was in the basement of the prostitute's house, I was like, this sucks, but this is going to be a B story for the documentary. For the
Dude, that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, I take a lot of and that's nearly because like of how early I left school. I think I appreciated school because I left when I was
Mm.
15. I appreciated school so much because it was so much easier than working. And my first 3 weeks of work was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I haven't worked harder than that in my life. And I raked some paddocks in Morzine for €10 an hour.
That's hectic, dude. That's hectic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, during that time, like you might have had some like down moments or there might have been some times where you're kind of demotivated or something like that. Is there something you do to kind of get your motivation back, or do you listen to any music or anything that kind of helps pep you up again?
Really, the only main time I got like I wouldn't even use demotivated. I was just down. Like I
Mm.
don't really seem to get demotivated
Yeah. Yeah,
in
right.
in that sense. But like after Andorra, because I got everything, I was like had so much expectation of myself. And then I did one of my like worst results to date. after
Mm.
I'd been building that, but literally one mindset shift, and I was like real pissed. I was not pissed, but I was like upset with my result on a piece of paper. I didn't really, I appreciated it all. I was gonna say I didn't appreciate it, but like I was like more focused on my result instead
Mm-hmm.
of how I actually went.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
definitely had a bit of time to myself at Andorra. Like I
Yeah.
definitely got on the e-bike and just went off on a big mission by myself and just processed it because I wanted to get back to the roots, and I started on a trail bike. I didn't want to pedal, so I got on an e-bike. And
Yeah.
I just
Sick.
wanted to, I just processed today, just went for a big mission, rode all the way to the top, road trail I haven't done, just like got back to the roots and like really just processed why, and was like put a fire in, or just put a fire back in my belly even more.
Yeah. Sick. I rate that.
Yes, I would say just take time to yourself, just
Mm.
process.
I rate that. Yeah. That's cool, man. Easy, dude. That's a sick note to end on. Is there anyone you want to kind of give a shout out to, or anything I might have missed throughout this?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to sum up a whole season in, an
Yeah.
hour and a half. But definitely got to thank Greg. Absolutely got to thank Win.
Hmm.
He he made my season, man, like what it was. Without Win, I can literally probably never repay him for what he did for me.
Yeah.
Like just the gratitude and thankfulness I have for Win. And now that he's like my mate, like I'm mates with these guys now. It's insane. It's
Yeah.
freaking nuts, dude. And yeah, Win as well. Just win. Oh, I honestly couldn't thank him enough. I don't even know how to like express it or like talk about it or like even be able to show it, but I honestly can't thank him enough. And Tim Butler, he's just been there since day one. He saw something in me from the start that not many people did, I don't think. So Tim Butler, all the people back in Cowra, Baz, Bronny, Flea Dog, that's the hometown, baby.
So
They come
sick.
up, Billy Goat Hill. They're weapons. Got to thank them enough. They're awesome. And yeah, everyone who supported me. Oh, and Josh Lee. He's a beast too. Thank you, Josh, for training me this season.
So sick.
Um, yeah. Oh, Josh. Oh, I have a lot of time for Josh Lee. He's the best, dude. I actually met him. I met him going to Medina at Champs on the boat.
No way.
Just like had a beast chat with him. Didn't talk to him for like ages. Well, not
Yeah.
ages, but like just became like friends on Instagram, but like didn't like talk or anything like that. Just like followed each other on Instagram. And then at
Hmm.
Carrabin at Oceanas, we like ended up camping next to each other and just became heaps good mates. And unfortunately, Josh had like the big crash. He got airlifted, broke his back and stuff.
Yeah. All right. I remember that.
And
Yeah.
we drove his car down, met his parents, and they took his car up to the hospital, man.
Mm.
And yeah, and then we became heaps like good mates after that. And then he did the season, and before he went and did a weekend with him in Wollongong, and just became mates after that. And yeah, now he's training me. He's just an absolute beast, toughest dude I know.
That's sick, dude. So good. Easy, man.
Yeah,
Well, I think, yeah, pretty, pretty keen to see what you do in 24. Not gonna lie. I think there's a
yes.
lot of people that are very keen to see what you do in 24. So
Oh yeah, I'm starting a YouTube channel as well. So
sick.
you might want to follow that very soon. I'll be
100%.
getting something cranking in
Do you
the
know what it's
very,
called?
very near future.
Are you
I'll
going to
come up
call
with
it
something.
anything?
I'll call it something scucks. But I want to dive into people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely do a bunch of interviews, bunch of writing. I want to interview a lot of people behind the scenes who don't get recognition.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So like because everyone like I'll definitely have some of the pros on there because they're my mates. But I'm definitely gonna have like a few people behind the scenes who make mountain biking happen.
Mm-hmm.
as well, and some just legends. Because if it's not them, like yeah, if it wasn't for them, the sport, there's so much excess that goes into the sport and behind the
100%.
scenes. So I wanna promote that for people. Yeah, I want to put. Yeah, it's just gonna be bloody Skucks as. So watch it.
So sick. Thanks, man. Well, yeah, I look forward to seeing that as well.
Awesome.
Easy,
Yeah.
man.
What are you doing for 2024, bro? What you got planned?
Not a lot. Not a lot right now. I don't like to make plans because then you can't get let down. So I'm a little bit
Oh yeah.
more spare at the moment. So,
Yeah,
but
my problem is I'll make too many plans, too many different people's, and I'm running around with a headless chook.
I'm keen for Cannonball. Um,
Yeah, dude, I'm so keen.
there'll be some events that will
Oh,
be released by this episode before this episode comes out. But
oh, sick.
there are some big events in Tassie happening. I'm
Oh,
hoping to get
oh,
down to.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, that'll be beast.
Yeah, I'm
That is
guessing.
such a sick place.
And
So,
yeah,
man,
sick,
that's
man.
sick, dude. Beast.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. It's been one of the best chats I've had in a long time. So thank
No
you for
worries,
everything.
bro. We'll have to catch up soon.
100%. 100%
Go for a
keen.
pedal, bro.
Can't keep up, but yeah, I'll give it my best.
Oh, you'll probably keep up on the uphills. I haven't done that for 6 months.
Fair, man. Fair. Easy, bro. We'll take
Oh,
it easy. And
you too, bro.
we'll chat again soon.
Yeah, no worries, breather. I'll see you in a bit, eh?
See you, boss. Have a good one.
You too, bro. Bye.
Bye. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed that poddy. Man, he is one interesting human, and I think he's got a huge future ahead of him thanks to his amazing attitude and just the way he chooses to live his life and what he's doing. So, yeah, huge fan of Josh Frotha and can't wait to see what he does in the future. As per usual, thanks to our sponsors, Trek Bikes Australia, Frank's Mountain Bike Apparel, Shred Bike Care, Fist Handwear, Taylor Trails, Lead Out Sports, Dirt Surfer, Capped Out Caps, and of course Oakley. Without these guys, the podcast would not keep running, and especially not this year. If you want to support the podcast, then tell your mum, tell your nana, tell your dog, tell whoever about it, get it shared around. Support those brands, use Beyond the Tape or Beyond the Tape Tenant check out, get yourself a bit of a discount and let them know that you're going there because of me or because of this podcast. Yeah, and just review, share around this poddy. The website's down at the moment just because it was costing a bit much to run. We will have a fresh jersey with Frank dropping soon, hopefully with the proceeds helping out someone pretty special. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that poddy, and until next time, just go out and have a bunch of fun.